Good morning. This got in a shot. I'm back because I got a lot to say today, people. Continuing off from my last podcast you just done. Um, talking about this insurrection thing. That I was talking about earlier on my last podcast. Here in I live in California, and you got Gavin Newsom sitting here trying to protect the immigrants from deportation and trying to hide them. Now, for the Democrats whining so hard about insurrection, when a sitting governor of a state, when a sitting mayor of a city, when the council, when the council members of that city or the government officials that work for Gavin Newsom in Sacramento, if you have government officials in a state, governors, senators, and all that resisting deportation of criminals, or honestly of anybody here who's illegally, is that not insurrection? Isn't that directly defying the federal government? I mean, I'd like to know what our government thinks. I want to know what they think is the actual definition of insurrection in today's world. Because I thought if you're defying the federal government at the level that they're defying the federal government on a daily basis, especially when it comes to even getting rid of illegal aliens that came over our border who are murderers, rapists, and arsonists, like that lady who just got burnt to death in New York City on the subway. Isn't that technically a form of insurrection? When they don't have to follow the federal government's guidelines, especially when it comes to getting rid of dangerous, illegal aliens in our country. I mean, that means you're going to. I thought that's what insurrection was, going against our federal government, especially when you have citizen insurrection. But isn't it worse when you got government officials that are governors and senators resisting the will of our federal government? And a lot of these senators, when they're over there they're senators of states and all that. But when they show up to Washington D.C. and they propagate for this kind of behavior, isn't that kind of in a roundabout way insurrection? When they go on TV and they say we're going to resist the federal government, when they're part of the federal government, representing a state. I mean, really? I mean, I don't understand what's going on here. I mean, the government. I mean, the Democrats throw out that insurrection word so easily it comes off their lips, but yet everything I see them doing in my mind is some kind of form of insurrection, because it's not going against me. It's going against the federal government's mandates. Is that not insurrection? When a state tells you to fuck off the federal government, when a mayor tells, it's bad enough when it's a governor, but when it's a mayor of a city in that state, a little man telling the government to fuck off, isn't that insurrection? I mean, what is the actual? I mean, because these acts that they're doing tears down our government. It tears down our government and the confidence that the people has in our government. Isn't that insurrection? I mean, so I'd really like to know what our government thinks that the true definition of insurrection is, because I see a lot of insurrection going on, people, and I don't consider January 6th part of it. They call it out real easy when it's a Republican, huh? But you think about what I'm saying here, people. Everything they've been doing to this country, isn't that insurrection? Isn't traitorous behavior when it comes at a government level, like the Democratic Party, isn't that insurrection? It's not like a spy they caught. We're talking the 50 almost 50% of our country's broken 50-50, but almost a little bit more now on the Republican side because we just won the election. But isn't that insurrection when you got a whole party going on TV all the time and lying and propagating and saying we're not going to listen to the federal government? Isn't that technically insurrection? Because it sows discourse in the United States. It sows division, and it makes people feel unsafe. I mean, because I feel unsafe. I mean, right now in this country, so Donald Trump gets, I feel unsafe. I mean, I think we all better buckle down, people, because I think it's going to get way worse. I think things are going to start happening. I mean, I don't trust the Democratic Party. I think they're going to pull some crazy stuff here after Donald Trump gets elected. I'm worried about China. I mean, and the Taiwan Islands that we protect. I mean, there's China's over there in the Panama Canal right now running it. I know Donald Trump's not lying because everything Donald Trump's ever said has come to light. It's true. So we paid for the Panama Canal. 38,000 people lost their lives in the building of that canal is what I think they said the other day on the news. American lives. I mean, all the billions of dollars we spent to build the Panama Canal, and China's over there pushing their influence on it. And from what I heard this morning, Donald Trump saying that they're basically running it, and Donald Trump said we're taking it back, which we better. People, the Democratic Party got us in a bad situation with China. They got us in a bad situation with China. They got it to where we're going to have to call out China and get the hell out of certain areas, and it would have been unnecessary if Donald Trump was still there. I mean, but they put this country in a lot of jeopardy. I mean, not backing our ally. Our number one ally is Israel. They're so powerful. They're a powerful nation. You saw what they just did in the Middle East, and it come like that, and that's with the handcuffs on. I'm a little worried. To be quite honest with you. I mean, because the Democrats really did a number on this country, and it made us look weak on the world stage. Joe Biden. We're respected on the world stage again. Oh no, we are not. We are not. If anybody believes that, you're greatly mistaken. I won't call you a name, but the rest of these countries in the world, they don't understand about the things that we're fighting about in this country right now, like transgender rights. So they don't get it. Now, England and France, of course they do, and maybe Sweden. But I mean, the rest of the world, they don't get it. I mean, so we're very weak on the world stage, and you can't tell me that any one of these other leaders respected Joe Biden when he shows up there and he can't even say two coherent sentences. You know why they're respecting him? Because they're getting what they want from him because he's too stupid to say no. I mean, he just lost his mind. I mean, it's a scary world we live in, people. It's a very scary world, and we need to. I hope everybody realizes the importance of this election. I mean, it's more. You can't. There's no words to describe how important this win was for this country, because we are in a bad situation around the world right now. We are. Joe Biden allowed all these wars to start. Houthis shooting at our fucking ships. I mean, the Houthis, man. If I was president, those Houthis would have been taken out so fast. I mean, they would never. They'd be gone. There'd be no more Houthis. There'd be no more Houthi rebels. They'd just be gone. They're such a small little terrorist fraction, and we allow them to keep metastasizing into a larger, get bigger, bigger, bigger. Just like we've done with Al Qaeda, just like we've done with ISIS, just like we've done with the Taliban. We just allow it for whatever sick reason. Our government, and that's both parties, why we allow them to just keep on doing what they're doing instead of just going to all these organizations I'm talking about. These terrorist organizations are for America. One-day campaign, a one-day campaign. So why don't we do it? Why doesn't our country go and take out all these terrorists all over the country that are messing with our interests, and we just let them keep on going? We got to ask ourselves that, people, because I don't get it. You saw what Donald Trump did to ISIS in a month. I mean, and that's because he got to the show, he got to the program late because he wasn't president yet. I mean, but all these the cartels in Mexico, one-day operation for the United States. I mean, we allow it to happen and continue to happen and continue to happen and continue to happen. We never do nothing about nothing. I mean, so we need to start doing something about everything. I mean, because you can't be the beacon of the world if you just, I mean, with modern technology, cell phones and the internet, there's so much information right at your fingertips to see what's really going on. And people need to start opening their eyes when they're on the internet and see what's really going on. And what's really going on is, since Joe Biden's been in office, we're a target. China's coming for us, man. They are sooner or later. Russia's our enemy. I mean, we can't let them see such discord in our country. I mean, it's a sign of weakness. You know what I mean? And even if we're still powerful, we don't want to get attacked because another country thinks we're weak, even if we're really not weak, really, when it comes to our military. I mean, so you got to think about that. We don't want somebody to think they can do something, even though we'll wipe them out. But what if one of those gets through? What if a nuclear gets through? What if one of these drones has a weapon on it? I mean, I'm just saying, people, we need serious people in our government that show up for work and are wearing their big boy pants, because you can't have a seat at the table in the real world to get things really done that matter to humanity around the world if people aren't adults when they show up to work. If they show up to work, but you got to show up to work. People got to put on their big boy clothes, not their little children clothes, not showing up with their Candyland toys or their little homosexual values. They need to show up at the table as just a man and a woman, as a country to a country, and we need to address these issues that are messing up the world. I mean, and the United States is part of that problem because we allowed that shit to happen with the Democrats in office. I mean, we can't have different parties go into our government that are so different and one being so corrupt because it gives mixed messages to the rest of the world. The rest of the world needs to know how we stand and where we stand and everything decisively. No, we don't want them seeing us over here quibbling and quabbling every day about the weirdest stuff in the world and seeing this kind of division in our country because it makes us weak, vulnerable, and that's a fact. I mean, why would we want to entertain somebody even trying to attack us if we could have a country of normality and show strength to where they don't even think about it? Just like the 9/11, they thought they had. I mean, we don't want them thinking that kind of thought. The only thing I want our enemies to think is don't mess with America. They've got their shit going on. Let's just leave them alone. But no, the Democrats made it to where they think we're a bunch of homosexual, transgender drug addicts. That's what they think of us. That all we do is fight with each other for freaky sex bullshit and drugs. That's what they're thinking about us, people. And we got an incoherent president who's got dementia, a vice president who's a cackling dumb woman. I mean, really? And then a government that's in office that can't even get a bill passed to set our finances on the right course so this country doesn't go bankrupt, doesn't default on our loans. I mean, that is what they're seeing, people. I mean, they're not seeing a country of strength anymore. They're seeing a country of weirdness, and that has to stop. That has to stop, people. America has problems that we don't even the average person doesn't see because I mean we don't, but we do. It's called other countries that don't like us, and they're just waiting for the opportunity to strike. You don't think China's not on? They're not always just waiting to see something that's going to give them a major advantage so they can strike us. If you don't think that's possible, then you're grossly ignorant. We live in a serious world with serious countries that hate us. I mean, we live in a serious world with serious problems, and we live in a serious country that we need to get our shit figured out, people. I mean, I know the most Republican Party has figured out, but we have to figure out a way to change the minds of all the, if you want to be a freak, be a freak, but be an American freak. Keep it to yourself. Don't talk to our kids about it. I don't want to vote on it or pay for it. All right. And I don't want to talk in school to our kids. If you can keep it at that, live and let live, baby. But they don't want it like that. They want me to stand up and say, okay, I love you transgenders. Well, I don't. I love all you freaks. I don't. I want my own opinion. I want their own opinion. I'll keep my freaky shit in my house. You keep your freaky shit in your house. Leave it away from the kids, and let's move on from that. Okay? Let's just end that at that. Let's everybody keep their freaky shit in their home to where nobody pays for it but you. We don't want to vote on it. And I don't want no made up special interest anymore. Any more of these special interests that are created by our government. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to let's X out of that part of America and get down to where people are working and we're safe, and let's keep criminals in jail, and let's make sure we have a immigration system that works for us and not them. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And isn't that common sense? Isn't that being nice? Let's just everybody keep your freakiness at the house. I mean, we don't want to vote on it. We don't want to pay for it. And let's get back to the real issues that are changing the world, that the dangerous issues that could affect this country if we're asleep at the helm because we're worried about all this freaky shit. I mean, we need to wake up, people, because these other countries, especially China, they don't have these problems. They're not their government's not sitting there worrying about transgender rights and having boys and girls sports. They're not even that is honest. They don't even understand that. And if you don't know that, this kind of freakiness is only happening in America for the most part, I mean, it's a couple other countries, but they're freaks too. But the majority of the world doesn't even get where we're coming from anymore. They're just like, wow, anything happens in America, nothing blows their mind anymore either. I mean, we need to get back to let's stop trying to be blowing people's mind over our sexual bullshit and our legal drugs that we're legalizing and letting prisoners out of prison. I mean, let people send their prisoners here and walk our streets. I mean, we really lost our. I think the Democratic Party really lost their minds. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what they're about at all except weirdness. I don't get it. They don't govern. I mean, so I mean, I hope they never get into this kind of power. Hope they never get in such power. They're running our country again for a long, long time. Not until I see a real change in their behavior for a long I'm talking years, because I've been watching their behavior for a lot of years now, and I agree with none of it. Not none of it. Because all of it's inappropriate for children, me, you. Keep your freaky shit home. Do what you want. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. I don't make out with my wife in public. I don't want to see you make out in public. I just want everybody to have some class again. Let's get back to having some class and then try to figure out these problems we have together. I mean, everybody can be what they want. Just don't make me have to talk to you. Just don't make me have to say, I agree with it. And I won't make you say that you agree with my life, all right? It's a two-way street, people. I'm not asking any more than I expect from myself. I just leave your shit at home. I'll leave my shit home, and let's talk about real issues that affect normal people in a normal world. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to our children, when it comes to our laws, our constitution, when it comes to these other countries fucking us, when it comes to our border, let's just get back to where it's real. I mean, everybody acts like there hasn't been freaks in the world. They've always been here. The difference is they used to have a little bit of class, and they didn't care about what other people thought about it. They did their. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I really don't. You can text, you can email my podcast, say whatever you want. I'll just brush it off because I don't care. I'm on here talking what I think and how I feel about things. And if you don't like it, you don't have to. And I don't care if you do. I don't care. I don't want you to know about when me and my wife have sex, how we have sex. But you do. You want me to know about it. So let's get back to where just leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. But when it comes to our national government, when it comes to America, when it comes to things that affect children and old people and people in the normal world, let's get back to that. Let's just stop it. Just stop trying to fuck up the line of normality that we're supposed to have in the world in order to keep us sane and to keep our country rolling on the right path. All right, this is Scott and the Shot. I love you guys. Scott the Great. I'm out of here.